G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm Matthew Littlewood, a photographer and filmmaker based in the Canadian Rockies. Today I'm breaking down the 9 simple composition techniques that will take you from beginner to immediate pretty bloody quickly. Now, it doesn't matter what gear you're using, from the phone to a professional setups, these principles are all going to be the same. These steps will build on each other as you progress, and the more you use them, the more that you will naturally just think about these as you're taking photos. First up, the absolute basics, the rule of thirds. Now imagine your frame is divided into a 3x3 grid, and the idea is to place the main subject on either one of those lines or one of those intersection points. So in this shot, looking at the rule of thirds, the subject is on one of the intersecting points, this tree is on another, and then the horizon line is going along the bottom. Kind of gives you a nice balanced image. In the next shot, similar sort of thing, subject will be roughly on that intersecting point, and then all the way along here we'll have this huge ice wall, and then again with this one the horizon line or the break in the landscape there is along the bottom. Subject is kind of like right in the middle of the frame, which is that mountain. This creates a balance and harmony to the image. Our eyes naturally follow these points, so it helps guide the viewer through the image and subconsciously just make it more pleasing to look at. Now this is the foundation of all photography, and yes, in time you will learn to break this rule, but for the time being, and especially with travel and landscape photos, just follow this guide and you won't go astray. Next is leading lines. Now these are elements in your scene that will draw the viewer's eye in towards something, and it's used to grab their attention and really pull them into the image. These elements can be very literal, like a road or a river going in a direction, or it can be a little bit more abstract, like shadows or patterns or something like that, that will just genuinely guide you to where your subject is. Okay, so for this one, for example, it is very clear what the leading line is, and it goes all the way up and towards the subject, literally using the actual lines of the road all the way up to the top. For this one's a little bit more obscure, with the leading lines are actually my legs leading towards the landscape, which is actually the subject. So this would be the foreground and the background. And a bit more of a complex image. We've got the rule of thirds with all the lines kind of matching along the sides. Then we've got leading lines coming in from the top down to the waterfall, which is also leading down, and you've got a rainbow there on the side, which is leading to the subject. So lots of things pointing towards this subject in this the bottom right intersection point. Number 3 is point of view, and basically your perspective. Now most times we go to take a photo and we take a picture from where we're standing, but what happens when you get low to the ground or shoot from above or even tilt your camera a little bit? These things completely change the mood of a photo, and it's a great way to stand out, especially in places that are heavily photographed. For this one, point of view, we have literally from a low point of view when we're looking up. This is a Maasai warrior, and I wanted to give that kind of impression of him being up as high as possible in the sky. Next image, looking down at the subject. So leading lines coming in, looking down at the subject from above, gives you a kind of a different perspective again of this kind of scene. Again, different kind of point of view, looking up at the subjects and then having them look down at the camera gives them kind of the idea of authority. So you can clearly see I'm looking up, I'm shooting from the ground, and they're looking down at me. Step 4 is all about framing. Not like a picture frame on the wall, I mean like using elements of your environment to frame your subject. Think doorways, overhanging branches, car windows. These kind of things add layers to your photographs and really focus in on the subject. So I've got white snow on the side, these branches. It is framing the actual subject and really drawing attention to the subject in the middle there. This one in the next frame, the framing is actually as the curtain there, and then all this clutter in the foreground here that really draws your attention to the figure in this scene. The framing on this one's pretty obvious. The branches and the foreground, everything kind of leads into the subject right in the middle here to give a really strong image that really draws your attention inwards. This one's a little bit more abstract. I'm using the subject to then frame the other subjects. So we've got foreground subject, middle ground subject, and background as well. The next two kind of oppose each other, but they can both be very effective in elevating your image depending on where you are and what you're shooting. Step 5, fill the frame. Sometimes less background means more impact. Like, get really close to your subject, eliminate all distractions, and let the subject dominate the composition. This is especially great for wildlife and portraits, like a weathered face with rough textures, or like the fine details on a bear, for example. There's nothing quite like filling a frame with just getting really close to an animal. This was shot with, I think, a 400mm. But you can see that every part of this frame is full with the subject. This is a different kind of filling the frame. I'm filling the frame with enough distractions that it actually brings more attention to the fact that she isn't a lantern. And then this one, I've filled the frame with bamboo for the most part, and then just left out this one section where you can see the child's face behind the bamboo. On the flip side is negative space. Now, this is the art of using emptiness to really draw attention to your subject. By giving your subject lots of breathing room, you can create a sense of solitude or scale or calm, and really give emotions to your images. This is particularly powerful in minimalist compositions and like dramatic scenes where you need to give a certain feeling to an image. Okay, so negative space in this one is used really, really well. You've got negative space all along the back here and all along the front. That really helps draw the attention. Next one's a little bit different. The negative space is actually on the side here. Although there is patterns there, they don't mean anything and they don't detract from the actual portrait here. Moving on, number 7 is symmetry and patterns. There's something inherently satisfying about balance. Whether it's a lake reflection, a row of cabins, perfectly straight road, symmetry creates this order and peace to a photo. In this image there's several different patterns. You've got triangles all over the place, and I've tried to keep them as balanced and even as possible, so to kind of give an image that really catches your attention. And in the next one there's lots going on. Multiple levels with clean foreground, messy middle ground, patterns in the background of matching mountains, and then patterns in the clouds as well. Zoomed right in to really draw attention to all the different layers in this photograph. Again, symmetry between the bottom and the top of this image, broken up by that little bit of ice, but it still gives you that balance. Here we start talking about symmetry with colors, so you can see in this image, we're looking symmetry down the middle. So we've got color on each side that is completely matching, and then a subject in the middle. Similar sort of thing with this one. We've got symmetry with a dark top to this image, a really light bottom, and then something that breaks up that image in the middle. So if you were to fold that in half, it would be almost symmetrical on either side, balanced top and bottom. Number 8 is creating depth. Photography inherently is flat, but a good composition can make it feel 3D. Layer your shot with a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. Now this could mean shooting through the glass or placing your subject between the foreground and the backdrop and having like layers between those. So with this one, we've got the foreground all along the bottom and all along the top, and it really creates a different layer to this image where it really draws you into the actual waterfall in the background. Next up, adding depth to this one. I could have stepped away from this tree in the foreground, but I liked the fact that it was blurred out and kind of framed the subject as well. So in this shot, we've got the subject, middle ground, and then the background blurred out as well. Adds just multiple layers to the image. Same again with the next one, multiple layers as well. We've got the foreground down the bottom here, the subjects in the midground, and then the background blurred out, using that long lens to like get a really deep depth of field. And finally, let's simplify things as much as possible. The best photos often have one clear subject and zero distractions. Like, ask yourself, what am I trying to tell here? What story am I telling? Now, remove anything that doesn't help that story. I'm talking clean edges, clean light, clean composition. That's how you elevate a good photo to a great one. Now, this can also be done in post, depending on how much you want to edit your photos. If you want to check out this video, it shows you how to remove things using AI, super handy, or otherwise spend a lot of time kind of composing your shots so that everything is clean from the get-go. This, I waited quite a while for all the people to walk out of the frame just so I could get nice beach, clean ocean, single subject, nice clean frame. So this is an example where we didn't have the option to simplify certain parts of the image. We wanted to keep the background really similar and really clean, but unfortunately the entire background was full of things like this, so we've photoshopped those out. So you can see all the little spots. We've used Photoshop and get rid of those so that everything kind of matches. So to keep everything really clean and simple in this image, we basically shot first thing in the morning when nobody was up on the hill, so that we didn't have to worry about little people here, there, and kind of everywhere. Just to really draw the attention on the rider. So that's it. 9 simple steps to make your compositions just that little bit better. These are the foundations I use every day in my work, whether I'm shooting portraits, landscapes, or behind the scenes adventures like you see on this channel. These are the things I think about, and I've been thinking about them for years, so now they're just naturally part of the process. If you guys got something out of this, hit that like button, drop a comment, tell me which tip you're going to use in your next shoot. If you haven't already, subscribe for more photography tutorials, gear reviews, and kind of life behind the lens here in the Rockies. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.